The insulin resistance battle has been going on in your body for X amount of years before it finally loses the battle. And that's when A1C spikes. And menopause could be the thing that pushed it over for sure. I say that a lot. What's going to likely happen is if we're lucky, weight loss can be really good right away. I anticipate it to be slow for a period of time, maybe a couple of weeks, maybe 1 or 2 months. And then it'll be like this thing where all of a sudden, bam, it starts rolling. But what's happening though this entire time is we're fixing the insulin resistance. We're lowering those elevated insulin levels by the fasting, by the keto and all this. And so it's like a threshold, so to speak, needs to be hit is what I see with these responses. And then it just gets faster with no change from you. Just like it was no change when you started gaining the weight. It has that same effect backwards, which is pretty cool. How long have you had Hashimoto's, Dana? Is it Dana or Dana? So make sure
It's Dana.
Dana. Okay, perfect.
That's okay. Hashimoto's diagnosed in 2010, so 14 years.
God, so quite a long time. Do you feel like you had that under control? A little bit?
I feel like I have it under control until I hit menopause. So now I'm in
Yeah.
menopause and I'm having huge issue. I didn't even relate it to my Hashimoto's, but I've been reading about menopause lately and realized maybe that's the problem. So
Yeah,
I had no problem controlling my weight on Hashimoto's until I realized
menopause.
now that I'm in menopause.
Basically, when you so we know what menopause does. It's a beast, right? On its own. And then if you have autoimmunity, you have this like pre-existing condition, right? That sort of exacerbates everything, unfortunately. So we have some pretty cool tools. Have you ever heard of low dose naltrexone?
I have been on low dose naltrexone for my Hashimoto's a long time ago, but
you stopped or you're still on?
I stopped. It was years ago. I seemed to have my Hashimoto's pretty under control, and so I just didn't seem to need it anymore.
Yeah, totally an option. I would say that if it's really under control, LDN wouldn't help. But if it's not, LDN is what's going to massively reduce the inflammation, and it's massively going to help calm down the immune system, which inevitably creates even less inflammation. So that's available to you if you need it. Just let us know. You get the access to it free. Just pay for the prescription. But okay, so Dana, do you happen to know? It looks like you haven't started GLP-1 yet. So do you know how many calories you average per day?
I don't eat very much. I eat a pretty carnivore type diet.
Okay.
I don't tolerate vegetables very well. It seems like they all cause me issues for various reasons. So yeah, I eat a very meat-based, very low-carb diet already. So it's a mystery to me why I've gained so much weight.
We'll definitely get into this. So would you say you're following like a ketovore?
I would say more of Paul Saldino, more like a carnivore like that with some fruit. I do eat some fruit, very few vegetables, but not a lot of fruit.
Yeah, Paul Sandino, Dr. Ken Berry, those are all great. And Paul's eating a lot of carbs now, but they're all very clean, healthy. But he is eating a lot of carbs now. But the guy's also surfing for 5 hours a day.
Right,
he's a crazy man. So
like I just ate a bowl of a half a pound of ground chuck and ribeye and everything. That was my dinner. So I don't know where the weight's coming from.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into it. And that makes me think more inflammation, but we can, if we need to debug specifically, if you're not starting to lose right away, then that's what you get. This program is we get to dive in if we need to specifically. Okay, so calorie wise, do you have any idea how many calories if you had to estimate or not really sure?
I'm not really sure because I guess I don't count calories because it's mostly protein.
So the reason why I ask is because relying on calorie counting, guys, is futile. It's just not. It's not sustainable for 99.999% probably of the world. But I do think there's a lot to benefit from having calorie consciousness. So I want that. That's a skill that I want you guys to develop. And I think in order to develop this calorie counting consciousness, awareness, if you will, it involves counting calories maybe for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, once a year. Because what it does is it gives you like a step back and an appreciation for this is how much I'm eating. This is what 2,000 calories looks like. This is what 1,500 looks like, whatever it is. And then every year you probably do it again because you forget. But the first time is really important. So one of my secrets is relying on fixing the body, but also giving you guys that you still need to have some consciousness of calories. Dana, it sounds like you've never counted before. Is that correct? Okay. So I would like you to start counting for both the benefit of that experiment so you can develop calorie counting consciousness. But I also don't know if you need a reset. I don't know if you need a reset because we have no idea if you're going to come back. Because what's going to happen for the next 3 days or 4 days, as soon as you start counting, as soon as you determine, okay, this is pretty representative of how I eat. It sounds like you're pretty consistent. So you should know within a day or 2 or 3. You text us on the FLOA hotline, Dr. Jones, I'm averaging about 1,200 a day. That seems pretty average. Then we're going to put you on the reset. Unless you come back with a high number, we're gonna likely say that you are going to start with the reset. I just can't say for certain until we run this experiment. In a couple days, you text us, and then we go from there.
Okay.
So you're in this quasi to be determined if I'm going to reset or not. Okay, fantastic. So let's move on down. We got Jennifer, retired chiropractor. Dr. Vaughn, super cool. Nice to meet you.
Nice
Where'd
to
you go
meet
to? Where'd you go to school?
Parker.
Oh,
Parker.
I should have seen those big old plaques in the back. You said
Parker, 2002.
Awesome. Awesome. And you're a PT as well?
No, functional medicine as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Super cool. So yeah, you'll digest this material really fast then for sure. Let's see. Haven't started yet. You are diabetic. So A1C last clocked in at 6.9. Is that correct?
I sat down for a job, retired, went into menopause, sat down for a job for 6 months, and my A1C went from 5.8 to 6.9.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Stress and eating. And I
Yeah.
definitely need a reset. I definitely have been overeating and allowing myself to have everything besides gluten. So it's time to just dive in.
Totally. How long have you been on the GLP-1 for?
I have not started it yet. I have it
Hasn't
in
started
my,
yet. Okay.
had it in my refrigerator for 6 weeks. And I'm like you, I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Found you on YouTube and was like, genius, perfect combination of everything. So I have testosterone at home. I have GLP-1s. I'm waiting for AOD, and I'm too much food chatter to do a super long fast right now.
Yeah,
So
totally.
excited.
Out of curiosity, did you ever look at because just to be clear, you said your A1C shot up recently, right?
Yeah.
Were you looking at your fasted insulin levels prior, or you weren't?
I had no idea that was going to happen. Everything went off the ranch. I was diagnosed with Hashi in 2007, and I was non-medicated 2 years after that. And my Hashi markers actually just started to come back for the first time with the weight.
2007. Okay. Same question about LDN. Are you familiar? Are you thinking about adding that too?
I had some nightmares when I tried it, so I don't know. I might do it in the future if something else, if I don't respond as well. But I wanted to start here first and see. But I didn't have a great response with it the first time I tried it. Maybe it was too high.
It could have been a lot of times people start with too high of a dose. So keep that in mind. But yeah, like Dana, we can assess to see if I think we got to add this. But okay. So one big takeaway, if anybody else here is diabetic or pre-diabetic, we need to focus on fixing that first. Now, the good news is I literally don't do anything different. That's the cool thing about this. The FLOA protocol is just as much the solution to diabetes and insulin resistance and bringing that down as it is for the weight. So it's the same thing, but I just want to be clear that when you have progressed to the point, as a reminder, the insulin resistance battle has been going on in your body for X amount of years before it finally loses the battle. And that's when A1C spikes. And menopause could be the thing that pushed it over for sure. I see that a lot. And so what's going to likely happen, Jennifer and anybody else in the same boat, is if we're lucky, weight loss can be really good right away. I anticipate it to be slow for a period of time, maybe a couple of weeks, maybe 1 or 2 months. And then it'll be like this thing where all of a sudden, bam, it starts rolling. So just keep that. But what's happening though this entire time is we're fixing the insulin resistance. We're fixing the insulin resistance. We're lowering those elevated insulin levels by the fasting, by the keto and all this. And so it's like a threshold, so to speak, needs to be hit is what I see with these responses. And then it just gets faster with no change from you. Just like it was no change when you started gaining the weight. It has that same effect backwards, which is pretty cool. Okay. So really the only question is, do we need to do a reset or not? Do you happen to know how many calories you think you average?
Many. Like I have not restricted anything I've been feasting for a year.
Fair enough. Yeah, definitely. It's always good to be like, yep, I know I've been feasting. So that's good. So then you're ready to rock and roll, Jennifer. So fantastic. No reset for you. Okay, Robin.
Yes.
Hello, hello. All
Hi.
right. So nice to meet you. And same questions for you. Do you happen to know how many calories you're averaging? And let's start there.
I don't know. It was about 8.5 years ago where I hit menopause and I was at like a good place. And in 6 months, I gained all this weight, but I thought, I know how to do this. I just need to find a different method. And I feel like I've been beating my head against the wall for 8.5 years. And I feel like just in the last probably, I don't know, 6 months or so, I was like hanging by a thread and just completely lost grip strength. And now it's some days it's feast, and then other days it's okay, I'll try to eat whole foods, and I've got about strength for about one day and then the next day. So I've been all over. So just listening to a lot of your stuff, I was thinking it might be a reset, but maybe after you're talking to Jennifer, I don't know. So I'm going to let you
For
kind
sure.
say.
So if you feel like your eating's been very inconsistent, right? Then you probably don't. But what I do usually in those cases is we pick a number that's closer and call it like a mini reset, and then based off of what happens to your body. What would you say a high day and a low day looks like for you, energy wise, calorie wise?
Well, so I'm going to say if I were to pick a day, because I was trying to do that kind of, okay, what days when I eat a certain amount of calories, I stay the same. I'm thinking maybe 17 or 1800 would be the T, I think you call it.
TE, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect. And then some days it might be as low as 1,000 or something.
Yeah, about 1200. I was always told that 1200 is the number. So and you just, man, that was very freeing hearing you talking about how it needs to be higher than that.
Oh yeah. It's crazy how many zombies are walking around on GLP-1s right now, and they just have no idea they're zombies right now until I ask them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I do feel like crap." Just no one's asked me.
I had a couple questions about the fasting thing. I've done a lot of fasting in my life. That part, it doesn't worry me at all, except I got a DEXA scan and was told that in some of the categories, I was in the osteopenia range. So my question is, if I am hitting over 100 grams of protein and lifting 3 times a week, can I still do the 48 hours
Oh yeah.
once a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not going to say fasting is going to cause direct bone growth, but it's not going to cause bone demineralization. And I would argue it would be beneficial for bone health. The most potent thing you can do for bone health is resistance training. That hands down, it's that pulling from the muscles onto the bones that causes the bones to grow stronger, to mineralize stronger. And then yes, you want to have adequate protein intake to support the muscles too as well. And then your nutrition and inflammation. But the resistance training is the best thing you can do for your bones.
Okay. And then I'd heard some health people talk about your urolithin A. So I ordered some. Is that something I should be taking, or should I just leave that?
If you can send me a label of what it was specifically, just so I could I want to make sure I'm accurate with it.
Okay. And then
send us a screenshot or something, but.
Okay, I'll do that. And then my last question is thyroid. My thyroid, I was just told that it's a 4.5. And
for TSH or for free T3 or for
TSH. And so the practitioner said, you're thyroid wise, you're in the disease state. So I just didn't know what to do about that, but.
Totally. With this program, we should have already did you already draw your blood with us?
Yes.
Perfect. So you probably haven't had your medical call yet.
Tomorrow.
Perfect. So they're going to go over the comprehensive lab. TSH is an indicator that is like it's like throwing a large net and it catches a decent percentage of people, but then it doesn't. So our labs, we have the free T3, the reverse T3. So we're going to know much more accurately whether or not you should medicate. And if it comes back that you should, you really do. You really should, because it's not necessarily, thyroid is one of those interesting things where it's not necessarily for life per se, but we don't want that blocking us from being able to get in there and really burn some fat. So they'll discuss that with you tomorrow's call. Absolutely. So going back to you, I think a mini reset is probably a good idea. Okay. So let's start you off and Ceci's taking notes on all this, by the way, guys. So everything's going to go into your chart. 100 calories, I think, would be a good intake. We're going to see what's happening. And then possibly we do one more week of 2000, but I want to see what happens. But I think 2 weeks probably is all you're going to need, and you'll be through the reset, and then we'll be able to start the protocol.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you.
Fantastic. And as a reminder, we're still going down the list. The only modification to the program, if you are in a reset, guys, besides the extra back and forth with us every single week. Besides that part, the only modification is no long fasting. So we're going to talk about fasting next, but I just want to hammer that into you guys. If you're not in a reset, you can dive into the longer fasting as quickly as you possibly can get into it. But for anybody that's in a reset, intermittent fasting is okay, but no long fasting. And we're going to talk more about that once we get through this and get to fasting. Okay. Is it Aisha or is it Aisha? Did I say that right?
Aisha, the A is silent.
Aisha. Okay, perfect. Nice to meet you, Aisha.
Likewise.
All right. So same questions for you. Give me an idea. Do you know if you're in a plateau? Do you know how much you're eating? Let's start there.
Yeah, I've been on GLP-1s for about a year and a half at this point, and I've been on a plateau, pretty high doses of trizepatides as well, 15 milligrams, still not losing weight, not counting calories. Specifically in the past 7 weeks, I just got back from a 6-week vacation, so I ate everything I wanted. I took a 3-week break from trizepatides, and at the end of the week 3, all the hunger and the food chatter came back, right? So certainly in need of a reset before we start the fasting.
So let me make sure I understand that. About a year and a half, it worked up to the maximum dose. If you are enjoying watching these clips from my coaching calls and my community, guys, I have thousands of like-minded individuals who are kicking ass. Click that link. I'll put it in the description of the video where you can set up a free consultation to discuss exactly how my individuals are achieving lasting weight loss utilizing microdosing and intermittent use protocols. Now, back to the video. No weight loss the entire time or some weight loss and then it stopped the whole
I started January of 2023, saw maybe 15 pounds of weight loss in the beginning on semaglutide. Then semaglutide stopped working. Another issue was that because I was changing providers, my new provider would start me on the lowest dose, right? So then I would work my way up to the highest in 3 to 4 months. Then I switched to trizepatides in October of last year, been on them again, change providers again. So high dose, low dose issues. Never really stayed at the highest dose for 3 months. I haven't done that yet. I am now on 15 milligrams. I can digest it. Everything's fine. But yeah, no weight loss in all of 2020.
Oh, that's frustrating for sure. It's just, yeah, I know. And then the last piece of that, you said for the last 3 weeks, you've been off of it entirely.
Yeah.
Did you go cold turkey from 15 to 0?
I did because I ran out and I didn't know where to get it. I again started, so basically July 3rd until July 20th, I was on like maybe, I want to say 10 milligrams of trizepatides or 8 milligrams. Then July 20th to August 7th, I took a break. And then I started on the 8th and now it's the 19th. So I'm on my second injection, but my last 2 injections have been on 15 milligrams.
Okay. So after the break, you went straight back to 15. Woo. Okay.
Right now.
Yeah. It sounds like nothing really happened. You didn't get hit with any side effects. You didn't get. Okay.
At some point, we were questioning the efficacy of the medications in the compounding pharmacy. So I switched this time, switched the compounding pharmacies this time to test it out. Let's see.
So help me understand. I think you did say it, right? When you were on the break, after a few weeks, you did notice the food chatter and all that stuff came back.
Everything came back.
Okay. Okay. And did it feel worse than before you started the GLP-1s at all?
No.
About the same. Okay. And then 2 weeks back on, do you feel like the chatter's now gone again? Okay. So you're feeling the effect of the suppression. It's just not, the weight's not coming off.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, that's good to know. So now let's talk energy, right? Wise. Do you happen to know how much you think you're averaging intake wise?
In terms of
calories?
Yeah. See, on the 3 or 4 days after GLP-1s, probably 1,500, 1,600 calories. On the weekend, if it falls on day 5, 6, 7 of the injection, then I go crazy and I'll have a great time and I'll have a lot of alcohol, right? Yeah, I would say higher on the weekends, probably 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 calories.
So yeah, I definitely don't think we need to do a reset for sure. Because I think don't do a yeah, because you're eating enough on for the weekend and you weren't too low during the week. I think there might be some additional support things that when I get the supplements that you might want to consider adding to your protocol just to give you a little bit more control as well. But I think we'll roll right in, and which we're going to talk about fasting next. So just want to see you add some of those supplements when we get there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, absolutely. So no reset. All right, Isabel.
So I average about 1,700 calories. I'm on a good day. If I don't eat, it's about 1,100 where I'm
Yeah.
just really busy. But my main thing is stress related with work, school, home life, just everything has elevated the last 3 years. And I've just noticed no matter what I eat, what I don't eat, there's just no change. And I've just gained weight.
Do you feel like the stress hasn't changed in your life? It's still there and you're having to deal with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to get to the stress section. So really pay attention to that section. I always put that at the end because I put things in order of priority. For most people, tackling the insulin resistance, tackling the fasting and the keto is going to get the most amount of people the results. And then it's, hey, they, burn out. I can't think of more for you. If you know the stresses in your life, then really make sure we get that stuff in as quickly as we can. Okay. 13 to 17 is what you said you think you average.
Yeah.
And you haven't been on GLP-1s yet.
No.
Okay. And are you actively losing weight even before starting this program, or that's what you eat? And
Yes,
that's
I did. I have. I started doing like intermittent fasting about 5 days a week, just giving myself that don't eat 2 or 3 hours before bedtime and then wait for lunch. I
Cool.
lost about 9 pounds.
Good.
And
And this is very
only
recently,
gained-
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I've only gained 2 pounds back because I have a sweet tooth. I have cravings that are sweets just directly. So
Yeah, I think, and yeah, that'll get better obviously when we start this. So you're actively losing weight. You've recently made changes, so no need to do a reset, but we just want to be aware of calories. And this is a big important note for all of you guys. Once we get to that long fasting stage, it's crucial that the other 5 days you're eating a full day's worth of food, which for most of you is going to be somewhere between 1,800 to 2,200, just depending on what that calculator spits out for you. Yeah, that is probably that's the only issue that some people in this program run into, because the weight's flying off, you're fasting for 48 hours, you're really grooved in, and then tirzepatide is so strong that you undereat on the other days. We really want to make sure we don't allow that. So for you, what a 1,700 day looks like. So I want you to stick with that and then just start the fasting and trying to work up to that, which we're going to talk about next.
okay, perfect.
Cool. All right. Michelle.
Hi.
Hello. Okay. Same question for you. Energy wise, what do you think you're averaging per day?
My energy is very low. I'm always tired. I'm lucky if I get 800 to maybe on a good day, 1,200 calories in a day.
Okay. And you're not on GLP-1s right now?
Yes, I am for about a year and a half.
Okay.
Yes, I'm up at 12.5 milligrams.
So you already know 800 obviously is really low, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how long has it been since you were losing weight?
My overall weight gain since my work injuries is about a little bit over 60 pounds, and I've lost maybe half of it in the year and a half.
Gotcha. And
It's
that was probably not consistent the whole time, right? It was probably more in there. Yeah, it was. So when did the weight loss kind of stall, and like how long have you been stalled for?
It varies. If I eat more, I lose weight. If I don't eat, I don't lose anything. So I know like last week I didn't eat much and I weighed myself this morning and nothing.
Yeah. So I think you already know how important a reset's going to be for you. Let's start you off at 1,200 a day, but like you really got to do, if you overhit it a little bit, it's okay for all you guys in a reset, but we want to do our best to hit this intake. And the whole reason why we're being slow and methodical, if you guys are wondering, is to prevent weight gain, right? Because we're trying to convince the body, hey, I'm no longer starving. You could chill out, crank the metabolism back up. That's what we're trying to get the body to do, but it takes time. And we just slow incremental increases. Also just overall health, inflammation, stress, you improve those things, your body responds faster to as well. Definitely, this is going to be a big reset, Michelle, 3 to 4 to 5 weeks, but week by week, you'll be working with us and we're going to slowly continue to increase your calories. Okay. So now we have 2 peptides to talk about regarding the reset, AOD and tirzepatide. So AOD is phenomenal, super safe. It rebuilds the metabolism by improving metabolic flexibility. So you're A-okay to start taking that right away if you want. And I only say if you want because depending on which program you got, we give you enough AOD usually for not including a reset. And I know how expensive peptides are, and I never want anybody to feel like trying to make you buy more. So totally your option. If you're okay with the idea of I'll buy more, and that's fine. I want to get faster results. Go ahead and start AOD. It's not a requirement though. If you want to be conservative, financially speaking, you could totally wait till after your reset to start the AOD. Okay. Any questions on AOD with the reset?
I do.
Yes.
I've taken AOD before. It didn't really do much. Maybe I lost a pound or two, then I install again. I even did the tesofensine and the MOTS-C, and not much difference.
The power of the metabolic downregulation, nothing will override that. And that's what upsets me when I see so many clinics selling these expensive peptides to people, and they're not actually say, hey, you're in a starvation mode. Like, we got to get you out. So I'm not surprised, and I'm sorry that you invested all that money, but that's why we're doing this. But taking the AOD during the reset is not for weight loss. It's just to start the process of what AOD does. So does that answer your question?
So no,
Michelle?
okay, no AOD during the reset.
No, it's optional is what I'm saying. Totally optional. Okay. Yeah, if there's benefit, but it's not going to be weight loss benefit, because during the but some of you will start losing weight during, like you noticed yourself, Michelle, you start losing weight when you start eating more. So that's awesome. And if AOD is with it, the results are going to be better. It's just basically my takeaway is the AOD is optional.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Now the GLP-1, because some of you are on it. I guess only 2 of you, right? Michelle. Okay. So the concept of whether or not you should take a break from the medication, I can't give you that medical advice, of course. So it's your call. Now, actually, yours is a little bit unique because you already had that break. So I think you just started again. So I'd probably, in your case, keep it going. But Michelle, for you, it's going to be your choice whether you want to take a break or not. Let us know what you decide. It's really important that you let us know how you want to approach that. Taking a break from a medication has a lot of its own benefits. Number one, the reset, we need you to eat more. And if it's hard for you to eat because your appetite is so plummeted, that's one benefit of taking a break from the GLP-1. Another benefit is we want your body to resensitize to it so that when you start again, maybe you won't need as much of a dose, right? That's another awesome perk. And then number 3, this is really one that a lot of people don't talk about. There's a mental piece to this, guys. So mindset is very powerful. It might be interesting to learn that when you look at the data behind all successful weight maintainers as a whole, like independent of GLP-1 meds, which there's not that many of them, by the way, but the ones that have, they all relied on mindset. It was all mental strategies. It wasn't what they eat. It wasn't how they ate. It was all mindset. It was counting my calories every single day, exercising every single day, good support group, preventing anxiety and depression and mental issues from starting. Like, it's all mindset. If only that was an easy solution for everybody, just get super mentally tough. My point is that in theory, you could mindset your way to this, but obviously that's a limiting factor because everybody has their own amount of stress and mental stuff going on. But I bring it up because it's still one piece of the equation long-term. And so giving yourself a chance to feel hungry again, this is really important in my opinion, because in the future, you're going to have to be able to tolerate hunger. Right? Like really understand that. The medication does such a good job, sometimes too much, where people feel no hunger and no cravings. That's so far from normal. That's so far from reality that it really throws off your own cues, and your ability to control hunger and cravings is a skill that requires like training, but it requires effort. So in a perfect world, you want to pick a dose. I know you're not picking the dose, but you want to end up at a dose that takes your hunger and cravings from the pathological, I can't control it, I can't stop eating, I say I want to eat less and I can't. That's pathological, right? That's the disease. You want to take that from, okay, I'm still hungry, but I'm fasting. I can control it. And you want to try not to let it get to here where it's, I'm struggling to eat. So basically being able to feel hungry is nice because in the future, you're going to have to be able to handle normal amounts of hunger. But the cool thing is, guys, by fixing your bodies, right? Because now we're talking about you controlling your body, right? Now we're talking about your body for a second. Your body will have less hunger. Your body will have less cravings when we fix the insulin resistance, when we fix the inflammation. And then so that in combo with a little bit of a tougher mindset is a nice recipe in the future. That's supposed to give you some information there, Michelle, so that you can make a decision. But that applies to all of you guys for just future thought processes, the relationship between the mind and the body and you and exercising control. It's really powerful. And we train on that probably once a month or so during the weekly calls. Okay. Any questions, guys, about the reset, about your reset? We're going to talk about fasting and food here next. Okay, cool. So the fasting, as you read, we have the 3 stages. We have the intermittent, which is stage 1, and then we have the 24-hour, and then we have the flow, which is the inevitable goal. So understand that with the exception of the reset, which we talked about, you got to wait. But when you're not in the reset anymore, your goal is to get to the flow stage as quickly or as slowly as you want. That's the really big takeaway. There is no template where I'm telling you to go into stage 2 for 1 week and then extend it for 1 week. Like, the reason why I don't do it that way is for so many reasons. You guys each kind of have your own resistant and barriers that you guys are dealing with. Your body is going to tell us how quickly or how fast you can go. Your own desire to move fast or slow is a separate variable. And then you guys are dealing with stress levels, right? I think one of you guys just told me that you're dealing, Isabel, I believe you told me you're dealing with a lot of stress in your life. So just because you told me that, my response is don't go too fast when you're increasing the fasting stages, just because your body is already under a lot of stress. Long fasting is stressful. And this kind of mirrors the whole thing that you guys might have heard of fasting is bad for women. The whole Mindy Pell's thing, which I love her work, by the way. Totally agree with it. A lot of it. She just doesn't understand the peptides the way I do. That's all. And the peptides allow you to get away with much more fasting. But as you increase fasting, just understand that you are increasing stress to your body. Each of your body has a sort of a threshold of how much stress it can handle at once. If you have an autoimmune disease, that's another stressor. If you're in menopause, that's another stressor. And then if whatever life is throwing at you. So just keep that in the back of your mind as you're deciding how quickly or how slowly you want to progress yourself in the fasting stages. And what's the worst thing that's going to happen if you try to do a 48-hour fast and you get hit in the face with extreme hunger? It's okay, I'll end my fast. But likely wherever you end it is probably going to be pretty good. So don't take it as a loss is my big takeaway. So you just want to move yourself through the stages. The big hump is going to be after you pass 24-hour, you go to bed, you wake up the next morning, you haven't eaten since the night before. That's like a big hump. That's 34 hours. Once you can get to that hump, that stage, you no longer do that twice a week and you do that just once a week. And you keep increasing that duration, trying to get to 48. I realize that 48 is not this magical number where all humans work really well. It's just an arbitrary number that I've chose that I see tends to work pretty good. It gives us a tangible goal, 2 days, 48 hours. Some of you guys will go a little less. Some of you guys, we might go a little bit more. That happens less often. And also understand that this is not for life. 48 for life, I think, per week would be too much. This is just while we have excessive levels of fat in our body. This is just a way to get us very insulin sensitive again, paired up with the ketogenic diet, with everything else that we're doing. And then, of course, breaking your fast is one sort of separate piece that you guys saw. Basically just eating smaller sized, easy to digest meals, increased in frequency throughout that first 24-hour period after the 48. And then usually about a day after that 48-hour fast, you're ready to rock and roll and your body's back to normal. You will get diarrhea. You will get indigestion the first couple times. Trust me, your body is like, whoa, the first time you do a 48-hour fast and the first time you break it. But it gets better at it like anything else. Digestive enzymes are a good thing to add just from GLP-1 indigestion as in general. And it's also can be something that you add if you're getting indigestion from breaking the fast. If you guys enjoyed watching this video, then you're going to want to check this one out. I get into a deep dive over GLP-1 medications, peptides, and lasting weight loss, guys. We'll see you later.